Hello, my name's Roy Thibodeau, and I'm going to be teaching a Vinyasa style Hatha Yoga class. I am a Golden Lotus Yoga teacher. The organization Golden Lotus Yoga Teachers Association found Charya. Our style typically is more of a gentle, thoughtful, uh, almost meditative practice. But I thought today I would teach a Vinyasa style. Vinyasa really means primarily a flow. Um, and I'm sure Yogacharya would approve of that style because in his day he was ahead of his time in the US, and he actually had what he called yoga pageants at the Detroit Institute of Arts. And they were really a Vinyasa flow style type of yoga. And he did it as a presentation to people that were new to yoga to attract them to the teachings of yoga and Yogananda. And I found in my own practice that moving sometimes to a Vinyasa style enhances my coordination. It also tends to be more strengthening than the gentle style. And as I've gotten older, I found that that's something that I could use. Now we're going to try to keep this class to 45, 50, 55 minutes, no more than 55 minutes. But I also want to include everything that we want to include in a yoga class. Just because we've changed the style a little bit doesn't mean that we need to eliminate the basics that we want to include in a well-designed yoga class. And in our association, we think those are the 6 manipulation movements of the spine, forward and backwards, side to side, and twisting in both directions. We also think you should include a balancing pose, which we will, and an inversion, like a shoulder stand or legs up the wall or half shoulder stand. You even get some partial inversions with forward folds as you're standing and downward dog. So to include all of that in the class. We may even include a stomach lift. I'll watch the clock. We think you should include a stomach lift every day, which is something we don't ordinarily teach in our classes, primarily because it needs to be done on an empty stomach, and we don't always know what the students, when they've eaten. So with that, we're going to do some real basic warm-ups. It's difficult to really do an entire class in the time allotted here today. So we're going to shorten up. I usually have a pretty extensive warm-up in my classes. We're going to shorten that process today, and then we'll move through some basic Vinyasa flows. And then we'll end the class with a sequence for inversion, partial fish, and a final relaxation. So sit up, and we'll do just a couple things with the legs to get us prepared, and the arms. So sit up in the knuckles and the toes, and then bring your toes back. Try to, and then rotate. And then bend your right leg and bring the sole of the right foot up as high as you can get it on the inner left thigh. Get your right palm over the knee. Sit up tall as you do this. One of the aspects of yoga that is so important is good posture. In fact, the word asana, which we use for the various poses, loosely translated means posture or pose. If that's easy for you, you might bring your foot on top of the opposite thigh and then work your knee to the floor if you're comfortable and flexible with that. Starting to get the legs prepared for some of the more active Vinyasa style poses we're going to do. And then just grab either the instep of the foot, ankle, or calf, straighten your leg. It's more important to straighten the knee than to hold on to the foot. So wherever you have to hang on, get that stretch in the back of the leg, and bring your right hand up behind the leg and gently raise the leg up a little bit. Increase that stretch in the upper hamstring. And then slowly lower that leg and foot the floor. Continue to bend forward from the hips. Try to keep your spine and neck straight to begin with. This really enhances the forward fold. And then try to bring your chest down as close to your thighs as you can. And then roll your head, bringing your forehead as close to the knee as you can to complete the stretch through the rest of this. And then come on back up, and now bend, hold the foot up as high as you can get it on the inner right thigh. Get your left palm over your thigh and knee, rubbing them for warmth and healing. Sit up tall as you do it. Remember to keep your posture good. Get your chin level. You might even close your eyes to feel the bodily, physical responses. Maybe feel some of the energy flows in the body. Get yourself used to maybe working with the energy of prana. If that seems comfortable for you, maybe you can bring your foot on top of the opposite leg. Never force the issue. I always tell my students, if you hurt yourself practicing yoga, you're not really practicing yoga. And the fact of the matter is I myself have hurt myself practicing yoga, and I have to take into account that, well, mentally I wasn't really practicing yoga. Because yoga, you pay attention to your body, you're always in harmony and balance. And grab either the instep of the foot, ankle, or calf with the opposite hand, wherever you have to grab to straighten your knee. So you get that nice stretch along the back of the leg. And then bring your left hand up behind the leg and gently raise that leg up a little higher, increasing the stretch in the upper hamstring. And then slowly lower the leg and foot to the floor. And then continue to bend forward from the hips, keeping your neck and your spine straight, bringing your chest down as close to your thighs as you can. Then once you've done that, roll your head, neck, and shoulders forward to bring your forehead as close to the knee as you can. And just sit and breathe here. Try to use the breath as a tool. The body has a tendency to tense on the inhalation and relax and release on the exhalation. Use that to your advantage. Go a little deeper into the fold. And now come on up and get into a comfortable seated position. We're just going to do a couple things for our arms and shoulders to get us prepared for the rest of the Vinyasa class. So bring your hands to your shoulders, elbows pointed out. Sit up tall, get strong across the shoulders and chest. Pull in your abdomen a little bit, get in this nice youthful physique. Yogis know the position of the body affects the mind, and this is a position of strength. Helps to cultivate courage, confidence, strength of moral character. And now empty your lungs with a double exhalation. And as you inhale, open your arms with tension, like an isometric. Roll your wrists open. Open and close your fingers quickly several times. Work the knuckles in your fingers. Strengthen the hands. Then open your fingers and rotate your wrists 3 times in each direction. And then rotate your arms several times each way, working the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, and the fingers. And all the tissue in between the joints, actually, twisted, massaged, made more flexible and vital. And then close your fingers. Roll your wrists close, and with tension, close the arms. And then bring your elbows to the front. And as you inhale again, straighten the arms with tension. Roll your wrists open. Open and close your fingers quickly several times each. Then open your fingers and rotate your wrists 3 times in each direction. And then rotate your arms several times each way. And then close your fingers. Roll your wrists close, and with tension, close the arms. Then bring your hands and arms down. Shake them out a little bit. And then bring your hands back to your shoulders. Sit up tall. We're going to work the shoulders a bit more. So empty your lungs with a double exhalation. And as you inhale, lift your elbows forward and up. And as you exhale, bring them backward and down. We're going to go 3 times in this direction. Make the circles with your elbows as big as you can make them to increase the range of motion in the shoulders, upper chest, and back. And then reverse the direction. Take the elbows backward and up, and as you exhale, come forward and down. This is really energizing for the entire body. You get that energy radiating out of the center of the body. It's good for your heart and your lung health. And now let's open our arms. We're going to do it now with our arms open. Get a little bit more movement in the arms and shoulders. A little more leverage, and the shoulders are warmed up, so we can probably do this okay. So as you inhale, lift your arms forward and up. As you exhale, bring them backward and down. And as you go backward and down, open up the shoulders and chest. Drop the head back slightly. Really expand that rib cage and lung capacity. And then reverse the direction. As you inhale, take the arms backward and up. As you exhale, bring them forward and down. 3 times in this direction. And then when you're finished, let's come on up into a standing position. We're going to start getting right into our Vinyasa flows. Something I forgot to do at the start of the class. I always do it in my regular classes. And this is something just to get your attention in the beginning. I forgot in the beginning, so we'll do it now. That won't hurt us any. So how is everyone? Awake and ready. How feels everyone? Awake and ready. Now we're going to begin our first flow. It's just more of a warm-up to get us prepared for a longer, more strenuous flow. Classic yoga posture. However, it gives us our 6 main movements of the spine. We throw in a little balance, and it gets us ready for the rest of the flow that's a little bit more difficult, a little more strenuous. So stand upright in mountain pose with your palms together in front of your heart in pranayama position. Get your chin level. And then empty your lungs with a double exhalation. And as you inhale, take your hands down out at the sides with the palms forward, all the way up and over your head. Clasp your thumbs together, stretching upward, arms by your sides of the ears, and then exhaling, relax a little bit. Let the hands and arms come down slightly. And then on your next inhalation, stretch back up and arch back. A nice gentle back bend to the extent you're comfortable with it. Don't overdo it and hurt your back. Only to what you're comfortable with. We're going to stay here for just a few breaths. It's our first backward bend of class. We stretch the entire front of the body from our head to our feet. And unless you practice yoga, no one ever stretches the front of their body. Increases your lung capacity, slims the waistline, hips and thighs. And then inhale and come forward. And as you exhale, spread the arms wide. Come into a swan dive, bending from the hips, coming all the way down. Try to lead with your heart if you can. And now this is our first full body forward stretch, forward fold. So we're going to stay here for a few breaths as well. Try to lengthen out the back of the body. Now if your hands and fingers touch the floor easily, then grab opposing elbows. You want to get that extra weight of the hands and arms and shoulders pulling down, giving a little bit more stretch for the back of the body, particularly the upper hamstrings, buttocks, and lower back. If you bend forward far enough, you might also get a partial inversion. Head lower than your heart. Maybe if you're bent forward far enough, you get your shoulders lower than your hips. And now on your next inhalation, spread your arms wide. Inhaling, come all the way up in a reverse swan dive. Hands and arms all the way up and over your head. Stretch upward. Get your arms back by your ears to open your shoulders and chest. And then as you exhale, grab the right wrist with the left hand, pulling off to the left. Try to keep that right shoulder back so it's a straight side stretch. You might look up at your right elbow to help you with that. Now we're going to add a little bit of a balance here. So find a point to focus on, stretch out your right foot, and then see if you might either lighten up on the toe or maybe lift the toe from the floor for balance. Inhale, come back to center, stretch upward again. Exhaling, grab your left wrist with your right hand, pulling to the right, stretching the left side body. We're also compressing the right side. They're both equally important, actually. Keep that left shoulder back. And then stretch out your left foot. Find that point to focus on. See if you might be able to lift that foot from the floor. Maybe just lighten up on the toe. Inhale, come back together, stretch upward. Exhaling, swim your right arm down and back. Bring the arms level. Graze back at your right thumb. Try to keep your hips forward for a nice complete spinal twist. Inhaling, swim the arms all the way back up. Stretch upward. Exhaling, swim that left arm down and back. Bring the arms level. Gaze back at your left thumb and keep your hips forward. Inhale, swim all the way back up. Stretch upward again. One more time, higher than all the rest. Feel the stretch way into your hips. And then as you exhale, slowly lower your hands and arms all the way down. Bring your fingertips together at the bottom and gracefully bring your palms together in front of your heart. Now in a regular class, I might do that twice. But there's a lot to get in today in a short amount of time, so we're going to move on. And we're going to next is do also a little bit of a warm-up, the sun salutation. The sun salutation is probably the best known and most practiced pose in Hatha Yoga, and it in itself is a Vinyasa style flow. In fact, almost all Vinyasa style classes use the sun salutation as their basis, as we will here today too. So what I thought we'd do now is we would go through a basic sun salutation, and then we'll go through our major flow. Top of your mat. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Get your chin level. Empty your lungs with a double exhalation. And as you inhale, take your hands down, out in front of you, up and over your head, and arch back. Nice gentle back bend. Come forward, and as you exhale, bend from your hips, coming all the way down into a forward fold. You've been here before, so we don't have to stay very long. Make sure your fingertips touch the floor. Bend your knees if you need to do that. And then on your next inhalation, take your right foot back as far as you can into a runner's lunge. Get your head up just like you want a straight line in the spine from the tailbone to the top of the head. In fact, to do this, many people get their buttocks up in the air. And sometimes it's because they have problems with their lower back and hips. If that's the case, you do this gently, but you really want to bring the buttocks down so you have a straight line from the heel through the back of the head. And now take your left foot back next to your right. Come into a plank. Again, see if you can bring that straight line from the heel through the back of the head. And then as you exhale, lower to your knees, lower to your chest, and either your chin or your forehead. And then flatten your toes back, drop your hips down. Inhale, push up, rolling back, arching back, keeping the shoulders back, opening up the chest, shining the heart forward. And then tuck your toes under, and as you exhale, lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. We'll stay here just a few breaths. Just this. Many times in Vinyasa we use downward dog almost as a resting position, but it's a great partial inversion. You get the hips higher than the shoulders, heart higher than the head. Try to push your hips up and back and your heels towards the floor to get a little greater stretch in the back of the legs and the nice curvature in the lower part of the spine. And then on your next inhalation, bring your right foot forward between the hands. Now, for many of you, that's a difficult move. So you might use your hand against the calf to help you. Try to get that foot up all the way between the hands so you get a really nice lunge. Now on these lunges, depending on how your strength and what your practice has been in the past, you may also lower that back knee to the floor. That's okay. That's a variation in the lunge. And then as you exhale, bring your left foot forward next to your right. Come into a forward fold. Inhaling, slowly come up all the way up and back. Nice gentle arch. We're halfway through. Now we're going to go back on the other side. So as you exhale, come forward, bend from your hips, come all the way down into a forward fold. Inhaling, take your left foot back, neck coming into a runner's lunge. Again, the knee can be up or down. Try to get, if your knee is up, try to get your straight line from the heel through the back of the head. Take your right foot back next to your left, come into plank or the top of a push-up. Again, your knees can be up or down, but we're going to go through what's called a Chaturanga, so lower to your knees, your chest, and either your chin or forehead, and then flatten your toes back, drop your hips down, inhaling, push up into upward facing dog. Shine that heart forward. And then as you exhale, tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Try to push the hips up and back. When you're in a perfect downward dog, you want to be looking back either at your feet or your knees. You want to push so your head is down a little bit and you get a nice little small curvature in the small of the back. On your next inhalation, bring your left foot forward between the hands, coming into a runner's lunge. The knee, right knee can be up or down. And as you exhale, bring that right foot forward next to the left, come into a forward fold. Inhaling, slowly come up all the way up and back. A nice gentle back bend to the extent you're comfortable with it. And then as you exhale, bring the palms together down in front of your heart. Now that's a classic sun salutation. Some people call it, and I think in Ashtanga they call it sun salutation A, sun A. Now we're going to go through a Vinyasa style. I just want to make a couple comments because we're going to use much of the sun salutation as our basis, and we're going to add some warrior poses, some triangle poses, some spinal twists. But I wanted to say a couple things, that alterations and variations you can make depending on your comfort level with some of the positions. So for instance, like I said, when we go into a lunge, you can have this back knee down. Might make it easier for you. Also, when we do from our plank and we do Chaturanga, this is the traditional way as I've described, knees, chest, chin, or forehead. But if you want to add strength to upper body, you might do a push-up style Chaturanga. You might just bend at the elbows, the arms close to the side, come about halfway down, and then flip your toes over, keep your knees off the floor if you can, and come into upward dog. And then without dropping the knees to the floor, transition to back downward dog. Now that's a little more difficult, but some people will like that. That's up to you. Do what you're comfortable with. So now you follow along with me. We're going to do probably this will take us 20 minutes to go through. That's a good time frame, I think, for us to get through this and then have enough time to do the ending part where we get our inversion, we get another spinal twist, and we get our final relaxation. So bring your palms together in front of your heart. Again, start at the top of your mat because we're going to be lunging backward. And then empty your lungs with a double exhalation. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. On this forward fold, I traditionally do it this way with my arms and hands out in front of me. You may want to transition like we did in the beginning flow, the arms out to the side like a swan dive. And the reason you may want to do that is with the hands overhead, there's a little more leverage and weight. So if you have lower back problems, that might be something you want to avoid. And if that's the case, then when we come in, just bring the arms out to the side and come into a swan dive. So palms together in front of your heart, emptying your lungs with a double exhalation. And as you inhale, take your hands down, out in front of your chest, up and over your head, and arch back. A nice gentle back bend. Come forward, and as you exhale, bend from your hips. Come all the way down into a forward fold. And then inhaling, take your right foot back as far as you can. Come into that nice runner lunge. The knee can be up or down. In fact, let's drop the knee down. Everyone will we're going to add this inhaling, lift the hand up. Call this a grounded Crescent Warrior. Try to bring the shoulders back to open up the chest. You can either look forward or you can look up at your hands. And now I'm going to add a little variation for those that want a little more strengthening and balance. You can tuck your back toes under, lift that back knee up, and come into a full Crescent Warrior. Adds a little more strengthening and balance if you like that. And then exhaling, bring the hands down, surrounding that front foot. Flatten your right palm to the floor and inhale, lift your left arm up for what's called a dragonfly twist. Nice twisting for the spine. Turn your head to follow the hand. Exhale, bring that hand back down. And now we're going to go into a warrior sequence. So put your right heel on the floor. Bring that down to the floor. Your right toes will be pointed a little bit towards the front of the mat. And as you inhale, it's going to take some strength here, power move. So as you inhale, lift the hands up and come to what's called Warrior One. Try to keep the hips and the shoulders pointed towards the front of the mat. Try to draw your shoulders back to keep the chest open. You can either gaze forward. If it doesn't bother your neck, you can gaze upward. You can either have the hands parted, palms together, or steeple position. Keep that lunge forward. One more inhalation. And as you exhale, drop the arms down to shoulder level. The left hand's over the left foot, the right hand's back. Try to keep the arms level. Draw the shoulder blades together to open the chest. And then on your next inhalation, bring that back hand down to your hamstring, front hand up and over for reverse warrior. Nice stretch on the left trunk of the body. And then let's add some additional twisting by wrapping that back arm around the back, palm out. And then we're going to go into triangle. So straighten that front leg. Bring your arms out to shoulder level. Inhale. And as you exhale, push that left arm forward and then drop it down to the front of the left leg. Lift that right arm up towards the ceiling. Now some of you, maybe this is where you stop. It all depends. To get the most out of the posture, you want to keep the hip and the shoulder stacked over each other. As soon as you start to roll the shoulder and hip forward, you're losing some of what you want out of this posture, which is mostly a side stretch, working in the pelvic area. But if you can, work that left hand down the front of the leg as far as you can, and when the shoulder starts to roll forward, stop there. Don't go any further. And then when you have that position, then let's bring that arm up over the ear, trying to keep the right shoulder back for a nice side stretch from the heel to the fingers. And then bend that front leg. Bring your right hand down so you're surrounding the left foot with the hands. And bring that back foot forward a little and then lift the foot from the floor. I'm going to get a little extra balance here. Try to get the leg parallel to the floor with the toes pointed down. And then see if you might lift the arms out to the side like wings. Try to lift the trunk of the body also so you have that parallel to the floor. And then drop that back foot down. Come in. Whoops, I want to do it this way. Come into star. The arms parted, the arms up so you have a star. And then as you exhale, bring the hands down behind the back. Interlace your fingers behind the buttocks. Inhale here with the shoulders back, draw the head back. And then as you exhale, bend forward from the hips. Nice side stretch, side straddle. Up, work the shoulders and the arms. Push the head down a little further. Exhaling, bring the hands back down. Bring the hands in front of the body towards the floor. We're going to get a little more work on balance in the legs. So then rotate, move off to the right side so most of your weight's over the right foot, side straddle. You got the toes of the left foot are up, the heel on the floor. You can bring your palms together in front of the chest in pranam. Look forward. And then we're going to move to the other side. So shift to the left foot, raise the right toes. Get a nice stretch in the back of the right leg in through the groin area. And then come back to center, bring the hands back to the floor. And now begin to rotate back to the front of the mat. And then come in, take that right foot back next to left, come into plank. And now we're going to Chaturanga, so you choose the path you like. As you exhale, lower to your knees, chest and either chin or forehead. Flatten the toes, drop the hips down. Inhale, push up into upward facing dog. Shine the heart forward. And then let's add just a little for the lower spine here. Rotate the hips and pelvis to the left. Turn your head, look over your right shoulder. And come back through center. Rotate the hips to the right. Turn and look over your left shoulder. Come back to center. Tuck your toes under. And lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. And then from this position, we're going to get some work on the lower spine. Inhaling, lift your right leg up. Bend the leg at the knee, and then try to stack the right hip on the left, bringing the foot off to the left, looking under your right shoulder. Inhale, come back to center, straighten the leg. Exhale, lower that foot back down. Inhaling, lift your left foot up. Bend the leg at the knee and try to stack your left hip on your right. Taking the foot off to the right, looking under your left shoulder. Inhale, come back to center, straighten the leg. Exhale, lower that foot back to the floor. Now on your next inhalation, bring your right foot forward between the hands. Use your hand against the calf if you need to. Try to get that foot all the way up there. It's great work for the hip and the pelvis area. Exhaling, bring that left foot forward next to your right. Come into a forward fold. Inhaling, slowly come up all the way up and back. Nice gentle backward bend. We're halfway through. We're going back on the other side now. So as you come forward, exhaling, bend from your hips, come into a forward fold. Inhale and take that left foot back as far as you can. Come into a runner's lunge and lower the knee to the floor. Flatten the toes back. Inhaling, lift your hands up. Come into a grounded Crescent Warrior. Either looking up at the hands in the position you like or forward. If you'd like, again, you can tuck your toes under. Lift that back knee and come into a full Crescent Warrior. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down, surrounding that right foot. Flatten your left palm. Inhale, lift your right arm up towards the ceiling for a dragonfly twist. Follow that hand with your head for a nice complete twist. Exhale, bring that hand back down. Flatten your left heel back, the toes pointed forward slightly. And as you inhale, lift the hands up, come into Warrior One. A little bit of a balance there. Try to get your hips and shoulders pointed towards the front of your mat, either looking forward or up at your hands in the position you like. One more inhalation. And as you exhale, drop the arms down to shoulder level. Right hand's over right foot, left hand's back. Inhaling, take your back hand down to your hamstring, front hand up and over for reverse warrior. And let's do like we did on the other side. Let's wrap that back arm around the back. Get a little additional twist there. Then we're going to go into triangle. So straighten that front leg. Bring your arms out to shoulder level. And as you exhale, push that right hand forward and drop it down to the front of the right leg, wherever that's comfortable for you. Remember, we want to keep the shoulders stacked over each other in the hips. So work that right hand down the front of the right leg only as far as you can until that shoulder and hip starts to roll forward. When that starts to happen, stop there. You're not getting the benefits that we want. And then when you reach that position, you can exhale. Bring that left arm up, down close to your left ear to complete the stretch in the left side. And then bend your right knee. Bring that left hand down to the floor, surrounding the foot with both hands. Bring that back foot forward a little bit. And inhaling, lift that left foot off the floor. Try to get the thigh parallel to the floor with the toes pointing down. And then see if you might lift one or both hands out to the side like wings for airplane or warrior 3. Try to lift your chest so that's parallel to the floor as well. And then drop that back foot down and come up turning sideways to your mat into star pose. And then bring the hands down behind the buttocks. Interlace the fingers. Inhaling, pull the hands down, drawing the shoulders back, getting a nice gentle backward bend for the spine. I really enjoy this pose. I find it really start to push the energy up from the base of the spine. One more inhalation. And as you exhale, begin to bend forward from the hips, coming all the way down, lifting the hands from the buttocks, working the shoulders and the arms. And then bring the hands back down, release them, bring them back to the floor. Now we're going to get that side straddle. So shift your weight. You might even shift your feet a little bit, pointing the toes out. Shift your weight off to the left side, lifting your right toes, keeping that right leg straight for a nice stretch. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. And then we'll shift the other way. Move the trunk of your body off to the right. Now straighten the left leg. Lift the left toes. And then come back to center. Bring the hands back down to the floor. And walk yourself back around so you're back in a runner's lunge. And then take your right foot back next to your left. Come into plank or the top of a push-up. And let's do our Chaturanga to transition to upward dog in the way that you like to do it. Me, I'm going to describe it as lowering the knees, chest, and either your chin or forehead. And then inhaling, push up with the hands and arms, coming into upward dog. The knees can be up or down. Shine the heart forward. And tuck your toes under. Exhale, lift your hips up and back in for downward facing dog. Try to push the hips up and back if you can. Heels towards the floor. Now we're going to add just a little bit more. So lower your right knee to the left knee to the floor. Flatten the toes back. Bring your right foot behind your left and raise that right arm up. We're doing a grounded side plank here. And on your next exhalation, drop that right arm down close to your right ear to get a nice stretch from the heel through the fingers. You may even go to a full side plank by just straightening the bottom leg, trying to get that straight line from hand to heel. And then exhale, bring that right hand down next to your left and come back into downward dog. And then exhaling, lower that right knee to the floor, bring the left foot behind the right, lift that left arm up towards the ceiling. And on your next exhalation, drop that arm down close to your ear. Keep the left shoulder back so it's a nice side stretch. And again, if you want to add strength and balance, you can make it a full side plank just by straightening the bottom leg. And then exhale, bring that left hand back down to the floor, coming into downward facing dog. And then on your next inhalation, bring that left foot forward between the hands. into a runner's lunge. The right knee can be up or down. And then as you exhale, bring that right foot forward next to your left. Come into a forward fold. Inhaling, slowly come back all the way up and back into a nice gentle back bend. And as you exhale, come forward, bring the palms together in front of your heart. And of course, there are many ways to do a vinyasa style flow. That is one, and that's one that I like a great deal. So now we're going to go into the final part of the class. So we're going to lie down on our mats. We're going to begin to cool down. And we're going to do a couple things that we haven't done yet to make it a pretty complete class. Several times in this direction, actually. Triangle. Relative balance as well. We're going to get in a little sequence that I like. We're going to get a shoulder stand. Now, where you just get your legs up in the air. And if hands sides, bring your toes together. Focus your attention upward and empty your lungs with a double exhalation. As you inhale, lift your legs and feet from the floor. Continue uplifting the hips and buttocks, catching your thumbs just under your hip bones. This happens to be the half shoulder stand. So you may stay here if this is where you're comfortable with, or if you left your buttocks and hips on the floor, just stack your palms under your buttocks to lift your hips a little bit and make it easier to hold the pose. But now I'm going to talk us into the full shoulder stand if you feel comfortable doing that. Begin by just walking your hands up your back towards your shoulders. What happens is the hips come forward, your chin tucks into your chest, and as you get into the perfect full shoulder stand, you get a straight line from the back of the shoulders through the heels. Now in all three positions, soften your knees. You want to get tension out of the legs to make it easier for the blood to drain back down the legs. One of the main benefits of the pose. We get our feet and legs higher than our heart. So we take that pressure off of the feet, ankles, and lower legs, helping to reduce swelling if you have that. Also helps to prevent varicose veins and hemorrhoids. And by getting the hips higher than the shoulders, you invert the pull of gravity on all the organs in the body, helping to keep them in their proper place and prevent prolapses. And you get the heart higher than the head, getting fresh oxygenated blood up into the brain, the scalp, and the face. That may be the most important aspect of an inversion. And you want to stay in inversion at least long enough to get the head and face good and flush. Actually, that's usually a minimum of 8 breaths. Now to come out of the full shoulder stand, you just begin to walk your hands down your back, lowering the hips until your thumbs catch under your hip bones again. Now from here, we're going to go into the plow, but if you're not comfortable with the plow, you can just come out of the half shoulder stand as we normally do by just dropping the legs back over the head so your knees come in your line of vision. Place your hands, palms down behind the back for support. And if you're uncomfortable with the plow, you just come out of this position this way. If you feel like you can do the plow and would like to, you just bring your toes to the floor over the head. And if you're comfortable there, you can up over your head to deepen the stretch in the upper spine through the shoulders and neck and the back of the head. You can even walk the feet away further if you'd like to maybe deepen the stretch. And then to come out of the plow, walk your toes back towards your head. They'll come off the floor by themselves. Place your hands, palms down behind the back for support. And then slowly, with as much focus and concentration as you can, lower this back to the floor. Try to feel each vertebra as it touches the floor. It's great core work and it's great concentration work. When your feet are pointed to the ceiling, then slowly lower your legs back to the floor. Again, this is concentration work. If you need to protect your lower back, you can always bend the knees to do that and bring your feet down that way. You get a lot more core work if you can keep the knees straight as you bring the feet to the floor. And now for our final pose, we're going to do a partial fish. And if you do the shoulder stand or the plow, it's almost imperative that you do some kind of fish to counteract it. Even if you do the half shoulder stand, it's recommended you do a fish pose. So we'll do a partial fish by bringing our hands underneath our legs, grab on at that crease between the hamstring and the buttocks, put some pressure on your elbows, focus upward and empty your lungs with a double exhalation. As you inhale, push down hard on the elbows, lift the trunk of the body, drop the head back between the shoulders, and gently lower the top of the head to the floor. If you're comfortable here with this and you have your balance, take your hands out from under the legs if you like, palms up, trying to relax the hands, the arms, and the shoulders. And then if you can, let your toes fall away from each other to relax the feet, legs, and hips. The focus of this pose is the upper chest, neck, and throat area. So that's where we want all of our energy and attention. Breathe deeply. Take advantage of your expanded rib cage. This posture helps to normalize the thyroid, parathyroid, and thymus glands. And then to come out of the pose, bring your hands back under your legs. Grab on, push down on your elbows, lift up, and bring your back down to the floor and relax. And now we're going to begin our final relaxation. We always end the class with a final relaxation. It's such an important aspect of the class if you're really into practicing yoga deeply. It helps you to recharge and refresh. It helps you to feel the energy flows and the benefits from the class. And it actually drives the benefits deeper into your consciousness, making them more long-lasting and beneficial. And I like to do it systematically. I like to work from the bottom of the body up, consciously relaxing each part as we go with as much awareness as we can. So put your attention down into your feet. Begin to relax the toes, the balls of the feet, soles, arches, and heels, Achilles tendons, and tops of the feet. Withdraw that tension away from the feet, up through the ankles, moving through the shins and the calves, relaxing as you go. Withdrawing that tension back through the knees, moving up through the thighs and the hamstrings. Withdrawing the tension back through the hips into the buttocks. And then relaxing the buttocks, the pelvic area, and the abdominal area. And then put your attention into your lower back and begin to relax the lower back, the middle back, and the upper back. And then put your attention into the front of the body, relaxing the lower chest, the middle chest by the heart, and the upper chest by the shoulders. Put your attention into your hands, relaxing the fingers, the thumbs, the backs of the hands, and the palms. Withdraw the tension away from the hands, up through the wrists, moving through the forearms, relaxing. Withdrawing that tension back through the elbows, moving through the upper arms, the biceps and triceps. Withdrawing that tension back into the shoulders, and then back through your shoulders into the neck. Relax the left side, the right side, and the front of the neck. And withdraw the tension up the back of the neck, along the back of the head, up and over the scalp and the top of the head. Relax your temples and ears, the jaws and the chin, the lips, tongue, and cheeks. Finally, relaxing the nose, the eyelids, and the eyebrows, so that once again all of your tension's at the point between the eyebrows and your physical body is completely relaxed. So just take a couple more breaths here and just bathe in this relaxation, peace, and joy. And then to bring the energy back into your body, raise your hands and arms all the way up over your head. Clasp your thumbs together and stretch, pointing the toes out. And then bring your toes back. Try to stretch the back of the legs through the bottom of the feet. And then while your heels are out, push your right heel and hip down, stretch your right hand up. A little side stretch here. Then switch sides, push your left heel and hip down, stretch your left hand up. Come back to center, point your toes again. Give another full body stretch as you inhale. And then roll off onto your left side and stretch. Roll onto your right side and stretch. Roll knees and thighs over your chest. Wrap your hands around your shins. Draw your thighs in tight to the chest, and then just gently rock back and forth from side to side, squeezing out all the tension that's in the lower back. And then roll off onto one side. Use your top hand to push up. Come into a seated position. Close your eyes and bring your palms together in front of your heart. Lift your gaze and go within yourself. And search out within that point of love and light, joy and divinity. And honor that within yourself. And then take your attention out through your mind's eye, searching out that point within everyone else here in the class joining us today. That point of love and light, joy and divinity. They all have it as well. And honor that within them. Namaste. Thank you for joining us. I hope you attend all of the activities at this year's virtual YogaFest 2020.